Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radiant Slothz channel with me, Dan. We're back on F1 22 here. I have been away for quite some time. The channel is going to restart the F1 season. Not at Season 1, but we're going to carry on from Season 2 after the awful season that we had at the start of the game's release. I kind of just gave up after Belgium because we were just coming last every single race and it was boring to make and yeah, terrible. So I gave up with that. I simulated the rest of the season and then I recorded this race way back in September, so that'll give you an idea of whenabouts I was thinking about coming back to this, but I just decided to just take a full-on break since then. But with the new year upon us, we're back on YouTube. I'm going to be making at least one of these every week, maybe two at a push, if I can feel like it. Otherwise, I'll make something different to upload. So you get one F1 video and one other video that might end up being F1 anyway. I'm also now on Twitch again, every Sunday, Monday and Tuesday from 7:30 GMT. So if you fancy popping over to a live stream, head over there and take a look. And also you can find all of my other social media things in the description, including TikTok, which I'll be beginning to post on again very soon, and Discord. You can join the Discord server and chat to me directly amongst everyone else as well through there if you decide to. So yes, back to F1. We rejoined in practice session. For some reason back in September I didn't record any pre-racing footage, so we had to make do with this track acclimatization. Nevertheless, we've got a new livery. This is not going to be the main livery at the moment. I may have just forgotten to put the proper one back on whilst I was playing around with new colour schemes. But for the time being, we'll just pretend that with the new Honda engine, we've actually been forced to do this by Red Bull to embarrass ourselves with the Honda colours as opposed to the Radiant Racing colours or Radiant Slothz colours. But there we get. Besides that, we've gone through practice 1 now, over to the quick practice, which I'll be continuing to do all through Season 2. Although thanks to that Red Bull powertrain power unit, we are doing a hell of a lot better than we were before. And we'll see in the race exactly how good that will be. A few points there picked up and some upgrades, and then over to P3 now for the final couple of points to pick up, and then we'll be heading over to the performance screen. And for those of you wondering where we are performance-wise, we're just behind Haas and ahead of Aston Martin and Williams at the moment. After the regulation changes, we fared pretty well there compared to the competition. But with that all out of the way, it's time to get on with the first race of the season in Saudi Arabia. Well, here we are then for the opening race of the Season 2 with the Slothz team, and we're once again starting off in Saudi Arabia because I forgot to jumble up all of the calendar way back in September. So we'll just make do with the exact same calendar we had last time, only this time we'll see if we can actually get into the top 15. And then we'll see how things go from there. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you know when the next video, whether it be F1 or not, is uploaded. And we'll get on to the starting grid. And here it is. Who's going to be at the start of the season on pole? It's Sergio Perez. He's alongside his teammate Max Verstappen. Behind them we have the two Ferraris of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Behind them, once again, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell at Mercedes, and they will be followed by, I think, the first of the changes. Yes, there we go, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll, who moves over to Alpine. Then we have in P9 and 10, Lando Norris, once again at McLaren, and Fernando Alonso rejoins the team. We're sat in P11 alongside Yuki Tsunoda. He's not gone anywhere since. Followed by his teammate Pierre Gasly, all the same still, as is Kevin Magnussen in P14. Whole new Alfa Romeo lineup. Daniel Ricciardo moves to replace somebody there, and Robert Schwartzman is his new teammate. And we've got Mick Schumacher at Aston Martin. Alex Albon remains the same. Our teammate Teo Pourchaire lines up alongside another rookie, Oscar Piastri at Haas. Nicholas Latifi is at the back of the grid as usual. He's alongside Zhou Guanyu. Well, here we go for the first race of 2023, and I think all the cars have actually updated since then. Maybe I'll try and mod them in the next season, if we make it that far, of course. But we come down into turn 1 now, and of course we crash into the back of Fernando Alonso, who makes a great move past his teammate, and Lance Stroll, who stole his seat at Alpine. We continue on with the bootleg Honda livery. Get past Lando Norris into the top 10, not for the first time on this career mode, but perhaps the first time in quite some time. We'll see how Miami goes when I actually do that race, possibly in 2 days' time on Wednesday. We crashed into the wall there. Nothing new for us, I suppose, hitting the barriers, and continue our pursuit of Lance Stroll. We're holding our ground fairly nicely here in the midfield. I'm not actually sure where Teo Pourchaire is. It's looking down at the map. He looks to be ahead of a few cars already, which is good for him. We might have to replace him if he doesn't perform too well by the end of this year. See if we can outdevelop some of our rivals and push him up the field somewhat. But it looks as though Lance Stroll, as we run a little bit wide there, that was not a corner cut, is going to maintain the gap ahead, and we've got some traffic building up behind us, and I've just seen there Lando Norris gets past us in the DRS zone without DRS, but we sneak back up the inside into the final corner, and he actually just bins it into the barrier. Not the best start for him, but at least he's only lost one position. Up ahead, a little bit of a battle going on there, bit of traffic, and the Alpha Tauri is getting a bit shaky behind. Up ahead though, Lance Stroll, he's on the medium tyre, so now that we're up to temperature, we should be able to slip it round the outside. That was not a corner cut, and we are ahead of an Alpine, quite possibly for the first time in a while. Of course, struggling to keep it on the track as we try to defend the position. Oh, we do give it back as a sign of respect for Lance Stroll, although he probably would just do his best to crash into us rather than handing the position back. We all know what he was like in the 2022 season, at least in real life. And we rejoin now, same part of the track, give or take, on lap 3. The soft tyre will be beginning to run down of grip, so we'll have to make a move fairly quickly if we're going to try and stay in contention here for a possible top 5 finish, given how close the field is up ahead. Stroll continues to get in our way. Hopefully we don't have to stare at the back of an Alpine for the rest of the season. That would be a little bit crap, to put it lightly. But we do get DRS here. Are we going to slip it by him? Move to the outside now, and down the inside we go. No touching there. That would not be allowed, but we do get past, and we should. Yes, we do get DRS here. Hopefully Lando Norris can get past him into the top 10 as well, since Lance Stroll is a bit of a dick on the track. Amazingly, is switched to Alpine, despite the fact that Daddy owns Aston Martin. I'd have thought he would have stayed there, but they've settled for Joe Guan Yu and Mick Schumacher after Vettel retired. Right, here we go, rejoining on lap 5. There's a bit of a gap ahead of us now as we approach the pit lane. Lando Norris did manage to get past Stroll in the end. He's dropped back. And Esteban Ocon, well, was very briefly ahead of us. Bootleg Honda livery going through there. Actually doesn't look too bad. I think when I redesign the car between now and the next video, I think I may go with a black base. Might even edit this one if it comes out good in green and purple. We'll see. Stay tuned for that one. As we come out, we're going to rejoin in P16, a position that we're fairly familiar with, having spent the best part of 10 episodes on the channel 6 months ago at the back, looking at P16 from afar. Unfortunately on the wrong side of it. But anyway, here we go, lap 7, about to move on to lap 8. Incredibly, set the fastest lap of the race. I did not cheat as far as I'm aware. going through the edit, I didn't corner cut anywhere. I think it's just simply the fact that everybody's getting in each other's way, and we've got fairly fresh tyres. As you can see, Zhou Guanyu, who was slowest in qualifying, is holding up Lewis Hamilton up ahead, who has dropped back considerably from old rival Fernando Alonso. Unfortunately, we've also got Alex Albon caught up in the pack ahead as we see Carlos Sainz go around the Aston Martin now. So plenty of slower cars at the back of the field trying to box us all up together. Nicholas Latifi, by the way, is failing dramatically to stay ahead of everybody else. Robert Schwartzman, Oscar Piastri, both rookies, are ahead of him. Zhou Guanyu obviously hasn't pitted yet, so he doesn't count. And Théo Pourchaire has had a year of Formula 1 at our team. But still, he's behind him, and we're arguably one of the worst cars. We're past another worse car, the Aston Martin of Zhou Guanyu. And now it's up to us to try and maintain our top 10 position, which we should get once everyone ahead of us goes into the pit lane again for their first stop. There goes someone. That might have been Alex Albon. No, it was Yuki Tsunoda, possibly. But anyway, somehow we've still got the fastest lap of the race, and lap 9 has been and gone now. Nearly. And up ahead we've got Carlos Sainz, who's found a bit of trouble with Esteban Ocon, the other Alpine. Looking back down the field, it looks as though Lance Stroll is still outside of the top 10 and has gone onto the hard tyre for some reason. Clearly not confident in his tyre wear. Esteban Ocon makes contact with Carlos Sainz there. We expect nothing less, but we get a beautiful run out of the final corner, and we push Carlos Sainz to stick behind the Alpine, which is going defensive, and we breeze by the pair of them going into turn 1. Will we maintain the position ahead of the Alpine? That is the big question. They're both faster. It looks as though we have somehow managed to do it, and we've still got the fastest lap, which is absolutely baffling to me, and I didn't actually realise when editing this how long we had that fastest lap for. And now we'll look at the perspective of Carlos Sainz, who I expect is getting fairly frustrated at this point, being stuck behind the Alpine and then forced to stay there as he watches the third slowest car on the grid go around the outside of him and then overtake the man who he thought that he would be pulling away from by the end of this lap. And there he goes. Of course, on board with us, we now have to live with the fact that we've given DRS to Esteban Ocon and a Ferrari, which is one of the fastest cars in the career mode at the moment. There goes Esteban Ocon round the outside. Carlos Sainz will join him round the outside. And, well, Lando Norris is going to have a quick peek as well, but we managed to close that door fairly quickly. We don't have to worry about it. But now we've got the DRS again. Can we make any moves here? No, it looks like the Ferrari is pulling away because we don't have ERS deployment options on this occasion. We did use it all on the last attempt to get past these two. So we will have to sit behind them for a little bit longer as Carlos Sainz, is he going to get past here? Yes, he does. Maybe? Yes, he does. He gets past. So he'll be disappearing off into the distance. And we'll have to contend with Lando Norris behind us, and Esteban Ocon will remain ahead of us for a little bit longer. We join in on lap 11 with just over 2 laps to go. We've got DRS. It looks as though we drop back quite considerably from the two ahead. But Ocon goes for a move around the outside. Carlos Sainz gets revenge this time by crashing into the front wing of Esteban Ocon. And we might even be able to get lucky here and pull off the same move we did earlier. Then again, we are against a Ferrari right now. Esteban Ocon goes to the outside at turn 1. He gets past Carlos Sainz late on the brakes. They're going to touch each other again. Disgusting driving from these two. What has gotten into them? The Spanish-French rivalry being reignited. And we slip round the outside of the two of them whilst quarrelling. And take P7 with the fastest lap still. And only 2 laps to go. Can we maintain our position? You'll have to keep watching to find out. Let's go on board as we watch this choppy frame rate with the STC logos flying past now. And we beautifully line it up there and slip it down the inside of Esteban Ocon in time for turn 3. Carlos Sainz's perspective once again. At this point, spitting feathers at the fact that he's been overtaken not once, but twice by the third slowest car on the grid, is squeezed out to the barriers by the Alpine, and has to watch our black and red car go slipping by, and the Alpine as well, it turns out, has managed to defend the position from him. That may come to our advantage. We've actually got a healthy amount of ERS left. Ocon, for the time being, seems hell-bent on overtaking us. And he's going to look down the inside as we approach the final lap, which of course we will return to the TV camera view for, to watch in all of its glory. We somehow managed to maintain that position ahead of everybody so far, into the final corner and down the back straight, or the pit straight, in a DRS zone. Looks as though Sainz is now making a move on Ocon, which should help help us pull out a great lead. They're still battling now, holding up Norris, Stroll and Magnussen. So it looks as though we could come away from this with a healthy, 6 points? Or nothing if we drop back all the way to where Kevin Magnussen is in P12. There he is at the back of the camera shot there. But we pulled out a nice lead here. 1.5 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz. So now it is just down to the aerodynamic play. Can Ferrari gain half a second on us? They've already gained a tenth. Almost 2 tenths now. That is the issue that we're dealing with here still with development. But hopefully things will get better. He's gaining. He's not going to get DRS this time, but he may get it in a moment when we come through for the final 2 DRS straights. Meanwhile, he will have to defend from Esteban Ocon, Lando Norris, Lance Stroll, and Kevin Magnussen, though. Things will get a little bit dicey towards the end. The Ferrari is incredibly fast, but it looks as though we've managed to defend the position here as my alarm goes off for something. The alarm does say that we've finally done it and scored some points. There's Fernando Alonso beats Lewis Hamilton to the line, and we cross the line in P7. We've got no penalties, thank goodness. Carlos Sainz drives past us in a fit of rage that he was not up there on the podium, and his teammate, just to add insult to injury, picks up driver of the day, incredibly. And there they are, the Red Bull mechanics celebrating a victory. I'm not sure. Oh, it's Sergio Perez has won the race. Excellent. So Sergio Perez will go into race 2 with an advantage over his Dutch counterpart at Red Bull. This will be an interesting one to watch, because I don't know, with the performance changes that I applied just 2 days ago when I reloaded the game for the first time in however many months. Well, we'll have to see if Perez and Red Bull can stay on top. Maybe Verstappen will take the trophy, or maybe we will, who knows. So after all that, here is the final classification of the race. Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc take the podium slots, with Leclerc taking the fastest lap. Then we have George Russell, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Radiant Slothz, Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon and Lando Norris rounding out the top 10. Moving over to the Drivers' Championship, of course the points all remain exactly the same as they are for the classification of the race. And if we move further down the field beyond the top 10, we have Lance Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda, our teammate Teo Pourchaire, Robert Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, Alex Albon, Nicholas Latifi, Zhou Guanyu and Oscar Piastri. And here's a look at the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull have more points than Ferrari and Mercedes combined after the opening race of the season. Then we have McLaren in 4th and Slothz in 5th with 6 points. I can get my words out. Then we have Alpine, Haas, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, and finally Williams. That's all for today's video. I'll catch you next week for Miami.